What the devil's this, Marty?
We're back again, Justin. We had a hiatus for a couple of weeks because just coming to the tail end of the season, doing all the tours and all that kind of jazz, and a couple of other bits and pieces. You were away, sunning yourself in Crete, putting the old suntan.
Cyprus. It was lovely.
Cyprus. Sorry, my apologies.
I
know. But yeah, so we're back again after a couple of weeks of a bit of a break, and we are joined by this man. I've been trying to get my hands on this guy for a while now. Mark Watt has been. Well, you're all over the place, buddy. And I mean that. I don't mean that as an insult.
No, you've nailed me. I am generally all over the place.
No, you've been everywhere. I've been trying to catch up with you for months now, and every single time I send a message, oh, I'm in Belgium. Oh no, I'm going taking away to Disney World or Legoland or whatever it was.
I think twice you've got me in Legoland. It was.
Sort of surreal, but no. We finally got you nailed down, and we're going to do a bit of news. Then we're going to get back to you, where we're going to discuss not only what you are doing, but basically the whole independent bottle thing. Because I sometimes feel it's a bit of people. First of all, go, I love a Scotch. Okay, there's 160 distilleries plus. It's okay. But I really like this type of whiskey. I really like this brand of whiskey. And a lot of what these distilleries is putting out is getting worse and worse by the day. I mean, yeah. So they're sort of capturing this brand loyalty, and the independent bottlers are sort of coming in a little bit different of an angle. And I really want to get nailed down on that, and as to just exactly what it is you guys do and what you're doing and where you get it from and all that kind of stuff. Because
I reckon he's very well connected, and he must be loaded as well, Marty.
Oh, I would imagine it's a part-time hobby, and there's no real profit in it. He lives off the interests of his loan.
I wish. If I was that rich, I wouldn't be on a podcast at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night, I tell you.
Here, you wouldn't know we've had some pretty famous rich people on this podcast.
Boy, so. Justin's well known and all the money he has. But you're 100% correct. Listen, we'll get chatting to you in a wee bit, Mark, and I'm really looking forward to it. We'll do a bit of news.
We'll put you in the green room. Here we go.
Now, I'm going to pour. You know what this is, Justin? You'll not know what this is. Oh, this was the last distillery I was in for the last distillery tour of the year in the Blair Athol Distillery up in Pitlochry. It's their 12-year-old distillery reserve, and a mighty fine drop of whiskey it is too. Just needed to do something. So I was done the tour, and Chris, who done the tour, says, I must get you a wee takeaway. And that's what he gave me. And
That's decent of them.
Oh, they're great up there. They are. They're genuinely lovely folk. And that's nice. I can't drink it in front of the guests when you're there, but thank you very much.
You're doing it now in front of us. You're teasing us. It
is lovely. Nice biscuity chocolate. It's like, you know what it's like? It's a bit like a chocolate digestive. That's kind of what it's like. That's really, really nice. Anyway. So we do a wee bit of news because we've got people all the way from Canada, all the way from down there, down near Ballyclare, Ballyclare, all over the place. But yeah, already on. So it is nice to be back, and it's nice to see you again. I believe you're coming over to say hello to friends and family, so we might get caught up whenever you're over.
Oh yes, I haven't even read the chat yet. I better say hello to these people because they've missed us a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I was that preoccupied. Patrick Mulkey, good evening to you. Remember to comment, like, and share on YouTube, on Facebook, or wherever you get your podcasts. Linda Cox is saying hello as well. Good evening to you. Geordie Burke as well. Nice to be back. And let me see, Declan as well. Declan Boyle, hello to you, and Seamus as well. Thanks for bearing with us on the hiatus for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was kind of unintentional. We didn't mean to be away for 2 weeks. We knew we were going to be away for one, but we didn't. It's just the way it went.
And we might be away for a week in November, and we might be away for a week in December as well. It's just whenever it was lockdown, we could get caught up and have a back catalogue, but we haven't had a chance to do that, and
just
hence
fly.
Flat out. Here we go. What's first this week? There's trouble at Mill, isn't there?
No, good news for Bushmills. Good news for Bushmills. Profits is up. Bushmills raise a glass to Irish whiskey sales. Sees profits hit 56.8. That's not actually strictly true. It's sales have hit 56.8 million. And their profits is 11.25 million, which is quite nice for them. Good on them. They must be doing something right. I probably sold a couple or three bottles of the 30-year-old, if I'm honest. But I did a little bit of quick bit of googling to see the 30-year-old whiskey that they brought out. Now, bearing in mind the 30 is still general release bottling. If you want to bring up the two pictures that I showed you, so there it is, 30-year-old general release bottle for £1,970 sterling.
Okay, yeah.
Head on. But I see it's a bargain. Another single cask, the single malt shop, sorry. You can get it down there. Much cheaper, 1,647. Still only about £1,000 over value, but but it's a lot cheaper.
That's some price disparity. Sure, you can buy a nice whiskey for the difference.
Oh no, the whiskey's nothing wrong with the whiskey. The whiskey's fine. It's just that bottle there's about £1,000 over value. The one at 1900 is just fucking ridiculous. But yeah, but I mean, good on them. Hope they're all going well. Hope they're all sitting relaxed, Justin, chilling out. Not joining the cult or anything. Like, have you? I'm not even.
How come you aren't allowed to associate whiskey with dangerous sports, but you can associate it with alternative therapies?
I meant mental well-being and health and stuff. It's crazy. But anyway, no, we saw these two, and there's like £300 a difference. Doesn't really matter. They're still not at that price. They're still not selling it anyway. But the other one, there's another bottle. The 32-year-old from Independent Bottler. No, not that one. That's 12. The link. Bring up the link.
The link.
At Master of Malt. Because you can buy a single cask 32-year-old from Master of Malt. Still available.
It still is available as soon as I can get it to come on. There it is.
Still available. 500 quid. Now, that's a 32-year-old single cask. That's really good value for money. That's a fine thing. And it says on the thing there's only two left. Whether that's right enough or not, I don't know. But I would imagine it probably is. And that's good value for money. That'll be a fantastic whiskey.
Should you drink that or should you keep it? Will it go up again? Will it go down again?
These days, who knows? But I feel like there'll be, at the minute, that bit bouncy and buoyant. But I would say that's probably worth a drinking. That'll be worth a drinking, that price. £500 for 32-year-old single cask. Absolutely great stuff. Now, I was up at the distillery a couple of weeks ago, and I noticed that there is a new branding for the 12-year-old. They've decided that the Distillery Reserve, see, there's Sean McLennan say that the 12-year-old Distillery Reserve, beautiful whiskey, is really good. £47 a bottle, available from the distillery. Very, very nice. Now, when there's festivals on, most of the time people bring out special releases for the festivals. They'll bring out something a little bit different. It'll be finished in such and such. So they do something. So what Bushmills have decided to do for the Salmon and Whisky Festival that was on there a couple of weeks ago,
nice.
bring out a new one. Basically, what they've done is the old bottles in the 12-year-old in the old bottle. What they've done is they've just put a stamp. That's just I'll get rid of it. Set it up, sell it for £40. That's their special release for the Salmon and Whisky Festival. Basically, just
£7 cheaper.
I know. But they just want to get rid of the old bottles of stuff. So basically what they've done is, that's their festival release. They didn't finish a new product and anything new, bring out a single cask just specially for the festival. They basically just got a black stamp and went on the old bottles and set it on the shelf.
Sean McClanahan, that's where he tried it. Very
Mhm.
good, very good, very good. Now,
Now, as I say, that's basically their limited release for the festival. It's not exactly putting your heart and soul into the festival, is it? You know, oh, we need rid of this stuff. Just stick a stamp on that and we'll put it out. Ta-da!
no,
No, there's not an awful lot of thought or effort as went into that.
No.
Anyway, we've got a new redesigned bottle from our the very pure ale company. Bring up the bottle, Justin.
I will bring up the bottle. I'm trying to find it. It's my favorite place. It is, of course. It's in Donegal.
Donegal.
It's in Donegal, and it rhymes with. Oh, it rhymes with. Where is it? Come on. There
we go.
Muff. Top.
Aye. Bring it up full screen. Because
Hello.
it's got a new bottle design. That's the whole point, Justin.
Yes.
The bottle design.
Yep.
Scroll down a wee bit. Scroll down.
Oh. There it is there.
Yeah. So it's got a whole new bottle design. It's got that wee ring on it there, so you can get your finger in the muff there and lift it up. Don't think that's not what they've done that for, right? That's exactly the whole point of that.
Okay.
Right? Don't ever think that that's not what they were aiming for. Now, the whole story of that place is just bizarre. It's just nuts because they've got a couple of celebrity owners now.
Mm-hmm.
One of whom is Russell Crowe. I mean, just think about that. I'll tell you what. We'll just play on the name of our town, and what the girl thinks. We'll set up the Muff Liquor Company. Right, that's what they set up. Playing on a little joke, and before you know, the start of Oscar-winning Gladiator is now part owner of it, along with the boy from Boyzone. I mean, what the fuck? How did this come about?
And that guy that couldn't make the success of the Late Late Show, Tuberty.
Aye. But it's just nuts. So, but the whole thing is just utterly bizarre. But no, I'd good on them. And just, the first yeast forward distillery. Yes. Oh, there's so many jokes you can make here, Connor. So many jokes, my friend. But yeah, it's just bizarre. But you're saying
can we say that and get away with that?
Why?
It's almost a bit. You know, the woke will be coming round to murder us in the middle of the night.
All right. We'll be all right. I think we'll be fine. We've got Gladiator on our side.
All right. Yeah.
We have the leader of the first battalion or whatever it was.
Yes.
So so it'll be all good. It'll be all good. But yeah, as I say, that's just bizarre. But no, the bottle design is really, really, really nice and good on them. They're doing well, and so they should. Fair play to them. They're not taking themselves too seriously.
No,
you know.
No, they're not.
And that's their own. This is the sort of thing that pisses me off, if I'm honest. Because the other night they had that Keepers of the Quick ceremony up at Blair Castle, and they decided that someone needed an award for their contribution to the whisky industry. So, you can bring up the picture now, Justin. Yes, Rod Stewart. He's been in the business probably about 15, 20 minutes, and they've decided that they would honour him for his contribution to the whisky trade. He's brought out his whisky called Wolfie, which is sourced. He probably has drank it about 4 times and has decided to stick his name to it. So they've invited him down to Blair Castle. Go back to the last picture there a wee second. Because he has the Atholl Highlanders all standing, Europe's only legal private army, standing, giving him honours guard to go in and receive his award for his outstanding contribution to Tesco's or the whisky trade or something. It's just kind of daft. I mean, what the fuck? He has done. I mean, he probably drank a fair bit in his day.
He is a great Scot, but he is a great Scot, Mark.
For the whisky trade. I mean, Mark is coming on in a bit. He's done more than he has. At least he's done something actually for the whisky industry.
I know, but we're talking about it, so it's a celeb, so it goes further.
Brilliant.
That's why you have the muff celebs.
Aye. but they're not getting awarded by an industry standard award to say, "Oh, thank you for your contribution."
Hold
to
on, get on the sleeve, Lee. Get on to him. Get on to him. Get on to him. All right.
No, but it's just sort of daft. I mean, I know everybody likes a celebrity sort of association and so on, but I mean, really? I mean, you think all the people that have done lots of stuff for the Irish or for the Scottish whisky industry, I mean, proper people who have been in it for years and years and years.
Listen, I know who's done loads for the Scottish whisky industry. Nicola Sturgeon, she'd drive you to drink.
No, well, that would be fair enough. That'd be fair enough. But no, as I say, it's just, come on, we can do better than that. You should be better than that. Because it devalues the stuff that other people get, you know. I know everybody that was there for the night probably got their photo took with Rod Stewart and whatnot.
I like my photograph taken with Rod Stewart.
I would like it too. I mean, that's fair enough. But
Maggie May, come on now. Come on now.
Nah, but I mean, it's just sort of, no, it's not. It just doesn't sit well with me. It's a bit daft, if I'm honest. But to each their own. It's good on him. I hope he sells loads of stuff and gets even more money. You know. Anyway, so next up, Talisker out of the sky. I quite like the Talisker 10, if I'm honest. Like that wee bit of saltiness to it. Talisker 10, they're demolishing the Talisker distillery and rebuilding it from scratch, apparently, is the
You're
plan.
winding me up. How can I get away with that?
Well, they've put in the consultation paper for it to see, and the 20 million they're going to spend on it. Diageo is going to build a new distillery.
Is it going to be all fancy and trendy and
Well,
Louis Vuitton and
Yeah,
over the top and not Scottish?
Look at Ardbeg, seems to be working for them. They keep winning all these prizes and best distillery visit and all this kind of stuff. But apparently, Connor, it says that they're putting in. They want to get rid of the old distillery and bring in a new one. That's what the consultation paper is about. So it's Diageo. So I would have thought it was a listed building, but maybe it's not. So they're putting out the consultation to see whether or not it's going to be feasible. But I would imagine that they probably will. But they're putting 20 million into Talisker, and so there you go.
Bit bizarre.
Well,
Right.
but like I said, they're wanting to increase production, so I imagine it's going to be I'll probably not be too dissimilar, I wouldn't have thought, but that's the plan. And then the next up, I saw this. This sort of relates to what we're going to be talking about. A Turntable. If you're an independent bottler over in Glasgow, are bringing out a Scotch-Irish bottling.
Wow.
So, pull that up full screen. So, this is their drop number 2, the collaboration, and it's with Dingle. Now, it's quite a complex bottling. It's a bit strange. So, it's 41% Dingle pot still from Oloroso, 29% Balmenic First Fill PX, 12% Blair Raffle, which is what I have here, First Fill Rye cask, and 18% Loch Lomond First Fill Bourbon, bottled at 52%, 1,500 bottles, £85 a bottle. So, I don't know how you feel about that at all. I mean, they're doing a launch for it in Bond Street in London at the Bang & Olufsen shop,
All right.
where apparently, if you read the web page, it's going to have, but the whiskey will be paired with a specially curated piece of music. So you don't sit around. You can all sit around. You know, like Kumbaya, like you're getting pissed out your head. There you go. Excellent stuff.
At least you can listen to it with good headphones or good speakers at the Bang & Olufsen shop. Yeah.
That I have no doubt about that. However, it is a bit odd. I know we done the music thing with Professor Charles Spence. That was different because it was paired up.
Serious.
That was really
and
cool.
It does work.
Really cool. Congratulate on that. But the idea of it's just sitting around listening to a specially created piece of music. If it's doing what Charles Spence did, well, fair enough. But I don't think that's
Do
what
they
it
really
is.
think that Ralphie's audience and our audience listen to that kind of stuff?
I don't think so. I don't think that's who we're aiming for.
Well, the
As I
focus
say,
groups maybe say they do, but anyway, who
mm,
knows? Who knows?
but seriously, it is a bit sort of bizarre. But it might be good enough whiskey, and fair play to them. Keep it going. We like new stuff, but can we do less of the collaboration with this brand to try and get some sort of recognition? Anyway, that's a bit of news.
A bit of cheese would be better. Yes.
That's a good idea.
Probably would.
We'll collaborate with a wee cheese man and see how we get on with that. Yeah, but anyway, we are going to now have a chat with Mark Watt from Watt Whisky. This over in the fantastic Campbelltown, just across the water from me. I can basically see it from my house. Mark, how are you, pal? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Yourself? Do you know, I've got to jump in straight away and say I totally, wholeheartedly agree with you on the keeper of the quiche thing. The fact that, you know, Rod Stewart has, you know, drunk one glass of whiskey once and he gets an award is just baffling to me. But funnily enough, I'm not a keeper of the quaich. I know people that are, and some of them are really nice. But like, it's just, it demeans the whole award system for me. That
Does.
you've got people like Frank McCarty.
Yes.
Frank McCarty's been
Bushmills.
61 years in the industry. Springbank, Bushmills,
Yep.
Springbank again, Bruichladdie, and he's not a keeper of the quaich.
It's ridiculous.
And
ridiculous.
Rod Stewart.
Well, I mean, he sells stuff in Tesco's.
Aye.
Just think about it.
Yeah. But do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And don't get me wrong, if someone was to give me a keeper of the quaich thing, I'd be delighted and I'd take it and I'd thank them and be all delighted and
I'd get pissed at Blair Castle.
Get absolutely pissed off at Blair Castle and it'd be great.
Yeah.
No one's going to pay for me to do that, so that's fine. But when you see the people like Frank McCarthy, Headley Wright, God rest his soul, but the owner of Springbank, he wasn't a keeper of the quaich.
It's just bizarre.
And Rod Stewart is.
Yeah.
And in fairness, Rod Stewart's one of the, you can almost see an argument for him compared with some of the other people that get it. And
well, again, yeah, I mean, it's a bit like, you know, whenever they dish out an honorary, I don't know, they give out a sir to fucking somebody who had, you know, Tom Jones. Don't get me wrong, Tom Jones, I'm sure Tom Jones is a nice guy, good singer and all that, sold a lot of records. Yeah. But Sir Tom Jones, let's be honest, name 5 Tom Jones songs. Do you know what I mean? Not Unusual, Samson and Delilah. Now we're beginning to struggle a wee bit. And you're like, okay, he's been about a while.
Green grass of home.
Right.
See, we're struggling.
But you know what I mean? So it's just the same thing. Oh, he's been about a while. He's kind of famous, so we might as well get him there. So there's a wee award for him. And did they not notice this themselves and go, what the fuck have I done to deserve this? You know, okay, I don't mind going and getting pissed with you know, the Duke of Argyll. Fair enough.
Oh, aye, absolutely.
I've met the Duke of Argyll. He's a nice enough guy. No problem. Head of that whole thing. I wouldn't mind going and getting pissed at Blair Castle. But, I mean, I would have enough modicum to say, don't give me that, I'll just turn up. You know, turn up and do a wee song for you if you really want. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Wolfie Whisky and Rod Stewart. Sir Rod Stewart. We're here to talk about you and what you are doing, because I was in Edinburgh, or as my American guests would like to refer to as Edinburgh, the other day, and I thought to myself, I know I'm talking to Mark on Saturday, so I popped my head into Royal Mile Whiskies to buy, say, the bottle. And when I popped in, I said, do you have any, what's the independent bottle? He says, funny enough, we do, it's over here. We have these, I think we have maybe 3 or 4, and they're chatting, and the guy goes, yeah, I know Mark, nice guy, he used to work in here. I said, is there truth to this alleged rumour that you worked in Royal Mile Whiskies?
Yeah, no, I mean, I used to get paid to be there. I didn't really work, but I know. And do you know what? It was one of the things. Royal Mail have just started stocking our stuff, and it's really quite a moment to have my stuff back in there, because I was 20, 21, 22 working in Royal Mail Whiskies, and spent a lot of my time there, and then actually started doing proper jobs. But so to now have our whiskey in there, Big Alex, it was probably Big Alex that served you, that was still there at the time, stocking our stuff. It's quite emotional, to be honest.
I totally hear you, man. I totally hear you, because there's a lot of people, a lot of things like Royal Mail Whiskies. There's a lot of people want to be iconoclasts. Okay, they want something's up there and it's kind of iconic. Oh, it's not doing this right. It's not doing that right. Royal Mail Whiskies sell a lot of stuff, and they sell a lot of stuff to people who buy it. That's the nature of it. If you're going to sell stuff, somebody has to buy it. But they're actually selling to people as an advertisement for thousands of tourists every week.
Yeah.
And if Ireland wanted to have any chance of ever getting anywhere to Scotland, we need a Royal Mail whiskey. We need Royal Mail whiskies in Ireland, because the brand ambassadors essentially for the whole whiskey trade, and they don't need an award. They don't need to go get pissed with the Duke of Argyll to do that. But when I walked in, they brought out a few different ones, and I said, well, there's a 7-year-old blended Campbelltown whiskey. So I had a little nip out of it earlier on in the week. Hang on, I'll throw that out. And I have to say, this is delicious. It is absolutely beautiful stuff.
So that was our 100th cask. So we've been going for nearly 5 years, and that was our 100th cask, and we had to think a bit, which is unlike us, but we had to think a bit about what we're going to do for 100th cask, and it had to be Campbelltown. We're Campbelltown, and it had to be something reasonably affordable. We did think maybe we should go with a big expensive old thing. Yeah, even we got offered some Springbank, 28-year-old Springbank, which was amazing.
You would need Rod Stewart's money to buy that.
Yes, but that's the whole point. And the whole point of our stuff is I want to be able to afford to drink my own whiskey. I don't want to not be able to open it. And so we're like, no, let's just go with this blended malt. So it's 99.9% Glen Scotia. That was teaspooned with something else from Campbelltown. And then we did get a hold of 200 mils of 1996 Springbank from cask, and we added that. So it wasn't teaspooned. We say it was ladled with something else. You can't taste it, but at least we know it's the only chance I'm ever going to get to bottle Springbank.
Yeah.
And I'll be brutally honest, we wanted to add more of it, but because initially I thought, well, I'll stick 2 litres in of the old Springbank, but the 2 litres of Springbank would have cost more than the whole cask of the 7-year-old Glen Scotia. So
it's nuts.
It's not going to happen. Essentially it's Glen Scotia, but it's fantastic stuff.
It's beautiful,
clean. It's funky. It is what it's bourbon cask, so it's not been messed with. It's exactly what I want when I bottle stuff. It's just
a couple of quick questions, right? What is your background? Okay, we know you worked in Royal Mail Whiskies, but say you did other jobs.
So my background is I grew up in whiskey. I grew up at Macallan when it was good.
You want to talk about Springbank? You got 2 litres of Springbank. You got 4 tablespoons of Springbank.
I got an egg cup of Macallan. I got an egg cup of Macallan. No, I grew up at Macallan, and it was a brilliant. Every house I've ever lived in, I've been able to see a distillery from, so it kind of explains a lot. But so I grew up in Macallan. When I turned 18, I started working behind the bar at the Craigellachie Hotel. We had 700, 800 single malts at the time. And that was brilliant learning because we had most of the whiskey industry visiting the bar. So you had to know who was in to learn things, because you'd maybe have Glenfiddich in one corner, Diageo in another, Glenfarclas in another corner. And so you had to know who was in.
Yeah.
From there, I went to study in Edinburgh. Allegedly, I've got a marketing degree, which people normally laugh at. And then worked at SMWS. I worked at Royal Whiskies.
I've got one of them. I've got a marketing degree, Mark. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Maybe not.
All the good. You probably finished yours. So did that, and then I went to work at Duncan Taylor. That was my first proper grown-up job. I was there for 8 years. I ended up being sales director there, running cask buying and like cask selection and stuff there. I left there. Well, before I left, I met my wife. And my wife used to work for Springbank, and then she moved up to Speyside. We actually got together in Tokyo, bizarrely. You know, you go all the way to Tokyo to meet a Scottish girl.
Didn't the guy that came to Campbelltown, didn't he come all the way from Japan to meet a Scottish girl?
Yep.
He did.
Taketsura's son used to stay on the street that our office is in, so
Right, okay,
it's all connected. So Kate was at Springbank, and she at one point Kate was actually the sales for the whole world for Springbank, which is quite easy. Basically, you just answer the phone and say no, you're not getting any. You know, but
I hope she kept plenty of bottles from her days there. You know.
When we moved in together, I did all right, to be honest. So it was. So we actually got married in the distillery, which was brilliant. So Kate was at Springbank, and then she moved up to Speyside. So she went to Glenfarclas, and she was at Glenfarclas for 8 years. But then I left Duncan Taylor, and I got a job at Cadenheads. So she moved up to Speyside, and I got a job in Campbelltown, which was just daft. So I headed up Cadenheads for 8 years, and then that was all very good. And then 2019, left there and thought, oh shit, I need a job, and that's where What Whisky came from. So,
all right. So is that what you decided to do? I've worked with Cadenheads, I've worked with Duncan Taylor, done independent bottlers. I can do this myself. And
there was a wee bit of it. It was like I'd always thought I would love to be an independent bottler on my own. But having worked for Duncan Taylor and Cadenheads, like they're big companies.
Yeah.
So the numbers I was working with was beyond the numbers that I have, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, that's fair enough. I mean,
so I never really thought it would work. And then we ran a few numbers and thought, oh, this might work. And we ran a crowdfunder to kick off with, and we thought, we'll run a crowdfunder and see what happens. And we thought if we sell 30, 40 bottles, that'll be good. And we sold 250 bottles in 3 days of a cask that we hadn't bought. And we told people, we haven't bought any casks yet. You're just investing blind here. And we sold 250 bottles in 3 days, and it was like, oh, this might work. And that allowed us to get a bit of cash in to start with 5 casks for the first release rather than 1 cask and moving it on from there. We're old school. We're the dinosaurs of the industry, as people call us. Like, we go through the proper old school channels. We sell to an importer who sells to retailers, or we sell to. We don't sell direct necessarily.
Okay.
And I know a lot of people do that, and it makes sense because you can either, you get all the margin, or you can take your price down.
Yeah.
But it's easy to sell sexy stuff. It's not so easy to sell the non-sexy stuff. I think whenever you say the words Macallan, sort of that proves all that, you know. Yeah. So you've got like Dalyuans and Balmenics and Manic Moor,
and all that kind of stuff.
which is my kind of whiskey. Like even when I worked for big companies and I had access to the big bottlings, I always preferred the Underdog because it was more fun. And thankfully now that's all I can afford, so it doesn't matter. But because like when I worked at Carney's, I'm just looking at my window here and I can see Carney's bottling hall from here. But when I worked at Carney's, if I bottled an Ardbeg, it was boring because as soon as I thought about bottling an Ardbeg, it was already sold out.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's no difficult to bottle a good Ardbeg.
No.
I mean, maybe people at Ardbeg should work on that, but it's one of these things that it's like it's no difficult. It's great spirit bottling it. For me, it's much more fun bottling a really good Glenelgan or a really good Dalyun or a really good Manic Moor that people think about. So that's kind of where we kicked off from.
Well, I mean, there's so many distilleries in Scotland that don't really sell their own stuff. I mean, I had a Blair Raffle there.
Love Blair Raffle. Great whiskey.
Well, the thing is, it pretty much goes in the bales. That's what they tell you. It goes in the bales. That's the malt content. But you sort of realise just how bad the grain going into it must be, because bales isn't great. Let's be honest. But the Blair Raffle stuff is superb. It's beautiful. I mean, really, really, really good quality malt. And it's a bit of a shame that it's kind of hard to get your hands on the actual malt without, the flora and fauna thing that come out and all that kind of stuff. There is independent indie bottlings of it.
But the flora and faunas are rising in price quite a lot these days. And but for me, that's why you need indie bottlers to let you try these things. The amount of distilleries that, and you've got to remember, Scotch whisky is not this. It's not people that listen to podcasts and are members of Whisky. Like the recent figures came out. It came out that sales are down 18%, exports are down 18%.
Yeah,
which thankfully for us, 18% of hee-haw is still hee-haw, so it's okay. But like, the average price of a bottle of Scotch whisky exported is £3.71.
Yeah.
So when you think about that makes you realise that, whisky shouldn't be as expensive as it is.
Now, put it like this, when you put it like that, it's a very sobering figure as to just how little, the actual whiskey's costing.
Yeah. There's so much of that kind of thing going on, and it's because you mentioned Bell's. Bell's is one of my. Well, it's not one of my favourites because it's not the new stuff. But you get some of the Bells from the 70s, and they're absolutely amazing. But the thing is, that was a luxury product in the 70s.
Yeah,
that wasn't. You're not comparing like for like. There was no malt. There wasn't the same malt category, so therefore there was more malt went into the old the old Bells and the old blends and things. And a bottle of Bells, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, whatever it was, in the 1970s, that was a chunk of change.
Yeah,
that was like buying £140 bottle of whiskey now. So you're not comparing like for like. So everyone goes, old whiskey was better. It was like,
we did actually try this. You aren't comparing like for like, Marty. Sure, you aren't really.
No, well, I mean, we did it with Johnny Walker Red Label. I know Johnny Walker. Yeah. I mean, if you buy a bottle of Johnny Walker from 60s, 70s, it's lovely and tarry and different, and there's levels of complexity to it. And now it's just, it's got a tiny little bit of peat sitting in there, just to sort of say, oh no, it's still peated, and it's just anemic. There's nothing to it anymore.
But it's not the same. It's not the same animal.
No, it can't be. It's just absolutely not.
And it's. But see, I love all that old. I love all the old stuff.
It's great being able to pick up bottles of it now.
The annoying thing is everyone's cottoned onto it though, and it's getting more expensive. Which is.
Do you know what I got? It must be about a year ago. Finally killed the bottle off a few weeks ago. A bottle of 8-year-old Harrods malt It was Harrod's Pure Malt, sourced from a Speyside distillery, Highland distillery it was. And I picked it up at an auction for £25. It was
Brilliant.
fucking fabulous. I mean, genuinely superb stuff. And you're like, that's £25 bottle of whiskey. It was bottled in 1983 or something because there was a wee tag on it that some boy had been bought it and they wrote it on it. It's like, fucking hell. Right, give me more of that. Searching down around the bottom end of the auctions, you can pick up some really good little whiskies, really good stuff, you know.
No, it's brilliant. Apart from the fact that Nicola Sturgeon brought in minimum pricing to Scotland, that just ruined everything. Because I used to buy loads of stuff at auction because you'd pick bottles up for like £3. You put a cheeky bid in because I'm bidding on all sorts of other stuff. But now, well, a lot of the Scottish auctions, the minimum bid is £15. And you're like, I don't want it that much. I mean, just why I've ended up with like loads of 1970s Goldslanger and stuff like that. But it's, it's just
aye, 1970s Goldslanger. I was alright.
Because you're like, well, I'm paying for the postage anyway, so I may as well just take something else.
Well, my problem is I put in these wee cheeky bids, and then kind of forget what I'm bidding on, because not. And then you end up winning one bottle, and you're like, for fuck's sake. So
then you have to bid on something else to make the postage worthwhile.
You end up. But if I forget or miss the end of the auction, it comes in, you are a winner, and I'm happy days.
I have to admit, I do that, and I put in like loads of bids on everything, and you're like, someday I'm going to win everything, and I'm going to be fucked. Like,
I'll be tapping.
So, oh no, I've spent $2,000.
Fuck's sake. No, I'll just phone Justin. Justin, give us a loan. Give me the money. It's nothing to him. But no, so you've done all that. You've decided to set yourself up. You said you've done it in 2019. Yes. Everybody knows that 2020 wasn't great for pretty much anybody.
Well, we started. I left Carnage November 2019.
Great timing.
And then we registered the company 11 days later, I think, something like that, in the beginning of December maybe. And then we thought, it's Christmas is coming. We'll take a couple of months off. And then we'll start. So we actually only really started working on the company properly in February 2020.
Good timing to start a new business.
Oh, it was brilliant. And Kate was pregnant with her second child as well, and it was with Brexit coming, and because we all voted for that, so that's why. See, democracy should just not be allowed, to be honest.
I think I should. I want to seize power myself, if I'm being honest.
I tend to agree with you in this one. Up the revolution.
We need a dictatorship, but somebody that we quite get on with. I think
like a good dictator is fine.
A decent, benevolent
King Charles. There we go.
No, I'm thinking if I was in charge, I would bring in a couple of things straight away. Get rid of minimum pricing all over the place. Just free up the economy, let fucking things go. And then I would bring in the death penalty for people who use the hole in the wall machine twice when they're there. You see, if you pull that fucking thing out.
See, I thought you were. I thought you were going to say I'd bring in the death penalty for people who chill filter, and I would be all for that. But
no, but you see, when that comes out, that card actually fucking finished. There's a queue behind you.
You've had your shot. Get to the end of the queue.
Yeah, but if it comes to any other service and you hit yes, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But if that comes out, fuck off. And if not,
and if you go into your pocket and pull out another card, oh no,
fucking absolutely fucking not. That's not even punishable with death. That's being put in solitary for 15 years. Then pulled out the fucking shot. Inconsiderate bastards. That's what they are. But that's the rule that I would bring in. I would bring in some stuff like that.
So we started then. We started with crime, but we were lucky. Like Kate and I have both been in the industry since 25 years. So we knew what we were doing, allegedly. But we knew we could sell stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, being honest, like, because we had relations with importers. Like all the people that we export to are people that we've dealt with for 20 odd years.
Excellent.
So, like our Belgian importer at the Nectar, they're only 15 years old, but when they started their company 15 years ago, I took Duncan Taylor to them, and I was one of their first suppliers.
Okay.
And, you know, and, I mean, I'll make no bones about it. Everybody that we sell to, they used to be my importer at Duncan Taylor. Then they were my importer at Cadenheads, and now they're my importer at What Whisky. You know, but it's the booze trade is built on relationships. It's, you know, it's where you actually get your relationships is after the tasting, 2-3 o'clock in the morning when you're having a beer with people afterwards. That's where everything cements together. So we had those relations. So before we started the company, we phoned up all these importers, Belgium, Taiwan, Japan, whatever that we were, and said to them, look, if we start up, will you buy it? And they all said yes. It's like, oh, that's fine. And I knew I could get casks because I've been buying casks with other people's money for 20 years.
Yeah.
And so, like, we're probably, for a company of our size, we're higher up the food chain than we should be because I've had 20 years of spending other people's money. You know, so like everyone's got this romantic image of independent bottlers, and loads of independent bottlers sell this nonsense. You know, like, oh, we travel around Scotland and we go to distilleries to pick casks. No, you don't. You buy them off a spreadsheet. You know, it's that doesn't work on your marketing. You know, oh, I just got a text message here. What? 25 casks, Altmore 2005. Aye, that price. Aye, yeah, I'll take it. You know.
Are you trying to suggest that there may be some shenanigans and romanticization of how an industry actually works?
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's, you know, it's very rare. Like we've done 104 casks now. You're drinking the 100th. We've done 104 casks, and I think we've bought 5 casks direct from distilleries.
Yeah.
And to be honest, most of them are non-Scottish distilleries because the non-Scottish distilleries are much easier to work with than Scottish distilleries, and they're quite excited about it. But most of the time you're buying from brokers.
Yeah.
And there's so many cowboys in the industry, mainly me, to be honest. But like, there's so many cowboys, and like I'm a geek. Every time I get offered a cask, I log it in a spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one time I got offered the same cask of Kalila, the exact same cask number, everything, by 5 different people in the same week. Right. And the price went 5-fold. Like, I think it went from, the last person that offered it to me was 5 times more expensive than the first person. Yeah. But what happens is there's loads of people selling casks that they don't own.
Yeah.
Right? And I'll be honest, I'll hold my hands up. I do that. I do it as well. But because I need to make money.
Yeah.
But like I work with a company called Cask Trade, and I sell their casks for them. Mm-hmm. So, but I'll put out their list, and it's on their letterhead paper. Yeah. And if someone buys it, I make a wee commission.
Yeah.
Happy days. But I'm very open about that.
Yeah.
And the amount of times I've seen people put £1,000 onto the Cask Trade list and then send it around other people as if it's their list, as if they own the casks.
Yeah.
And like I've had people like to the stage where you get people trying to sell you your own casks back. You know, it's just it's madness. You know, so
we have actually had that before, Marty, with holidays. You get asked the tour guide, you say you can't do it, and you end up doing it through a different person, which is just mad. It is mad.
But you know, but so you've got to know what you're doing, or else you pay over the odds. And times have been tough. There's loads of casks available. Loads of casks.
Well, I know
I've been offered probably in the last 4 months. I've been offered maybe 3,000 casks.
Wow! So
there's plenty there. None of them I can afford. But
are you sure it's not 30 casks just over 100 times?
well, that's the thing. It was all from 5 different blokes. You know, but it's there's plenty of casks out there. But trying to get at a decent price, like since we started 4 years ago, prices have doubled on casks. It's been ridiculous. Like the price is just going crazier and crazier and crazier. And thankfully, I mean, unfortunately, whiskey sales have dropped and everything. But thankfully, that's meant cask prices are beginning to dip,
Yeah.
which is good. Which is good. I mean, they're dipping from a high point,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But so it's that's one of the things that we had going for us was we knew people
Yeah.
higher up the food chain than a company of our size should be. So we've done pretty well in the Casklet. The one thing that we didn't have is because we don't have a bottling hall or anything. And I say used to work for Carnage, used to work for Duncan Taylor, and
Yeah.
two companies that had their own bottling hall. It was brilliant. I would just go, "Oh, that's good. Bottle that," and it would happen. People did it, and then we didn't. But everybody told us when we were starting our company, "Oh, bottling is the hardest thing you'll find." Like I was speaking to one guy who had a first fill sherry octave of something, and 9 months later he was still trying to get it bottled. I mean, that's not the same whiskey. That's, well, to be honest, it's going to be fucked if it's spent another 9 months in there.
Especially in an octave, like,
Yeah, but we ended up dealing with Claxton's. They're another independent bottler, brilliant guys, and they've bottled everything that we do. We give them 6-8 weeks notice, and we've never had any problems with them. They've been really good because they'd been having problems themselves, but they then built their own bottling hall because they've obviously got a lot more money than we have, and they had a bit of excess space, so we deal with them. So it's quite strange. I look at my window at a bottling hall, but my bottling gets done in Dumfries. So so I live at the end of nowhere, and Dumfries is the middle of nowhere. It's it's not easy, but getting that done has been really good. They've been because they're an independent bottler as well. They understand what we're doing and what our needs are.
Yeah, I mean, independent. But you've said there, and it's nice to hear somebody being totally honest about stuff. I mean, you've said that you look at things. So you get offered a thing. You get offered, I don't know, 3 casks of Royal Brackla or whatever, and you think at that price, yeah, they're on. I mean, obviously, you're not going to actually pay for it unless you get a nosing of it or a sample or something. You're going to.
We don't, because we don't have enough money to waste. Like, see, when I was working for big guys, you buy stuff blind all the time.
Yeah.
Because you get a much better price. And a lot of the time, you're buying from people that don't own the casks. So they're not going to get you a sample. But if you're, like, again, this has been pretty nice. If you're Cadheads, and I get offered 25 casks of Altmore, 12-year-old, and your price is good, you're like, yeah, I'll just buy it. Because if it's not good, you've got time to re-rack it, you can do whatever. But when you're What Whisky and your budget is this, we've got no space to have shite that we need to re-rack for 5 years or whatever. So we've been really lucky. And we've also been really lucky because, like, again, most people will tell you, you'll see them at independent bottlers, they're like, oh yes, we reject 90% of all samples we're sent. It's like, well, that's why your whiskey's so expensive, because you're spending $5,000 on samples. It's like, to get a sample of our own whiskey can cost us 35 to 50 quid to get a sample of our own cask.
Right.
So with these people that say they pull 100 samples before picking a cask, it's like, that's $5,000 you've spent on samples. How do you fuck? It's one of the, but the other thing is, we actually reject very little of what we get samples of. And that's not because we've got low standards. It's because the people that are selling to us know us. So anybody that's going to send us a sample, it's almost pre-vetted before it comes to us.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah, so, the people that are selling to us, people I've known 10, 15, 20 years, they know us, and they know Kate really well. And so they know not to send us rubbish because we're not going to buy it.
Yeah.
So it is quite, like, we reject stuff because we can't afford to buy everything. That's, like, we've got a budget. One of the things about having a wee budget is you don't want to spend it all in case something really good comes up.
Okay, yeah.
Because you're like, I've spent all my budget, and then a cask of Imperial 25 comes up that you could have bought. So it's all like in an ideal world, we would be buying stuff and laying it down for future bottling, but it's not quite reached that stage yet.
Okay.
And one of the reasons for that is new make is really expensive at the minute. You're actually probably ass cheap buying 5-6-year-old whiskey. It's new make.
Well, the thing about it is,
why would you buy new make?
it's one of the reasons that I get a bit. Hang on a minute, the guys. Oh, our energy costs have went through the roof. Yeah, you fucking made it 7 years ago. Hang on.
I love that. Yes. Oh, yeah. The energy costs in this thing that I made 7 years ago.
Get the fuck.
How much energy did it take to sit in a warehouse doing pee-ho?
Absolutely. And they're shitting themselves in the foot so many times at the minute. They really are. I mean, that Bushmills was showing on earlier on. 30-year-old Bushmills, core range, fucking $2,000 a bottle. $2,000 a bottle.
The thing is with that, that's just plucking a number out there.
Absolutely.
It might be good, and if you can, like, I always complain about over expensive whiskies.
Yeah, of course, everybody does.
Everybody does. But at the same time, if you were selling your house, right? I don't know. Say you're selling it. I'm going to use my house in Dufton when I lived in Dufton. Selling your house for £120,000.
Yes.
But if somebody said to you, do you know what? If you put a new set of curtains on and paint the outside of it, you can sell it for 300 grand.
The curtains would
You're
be
not
up.
going to go, no, morally that's wrong.
Of course you're not.
You're not, are you?
No, of course you're not.
But that's the equivalent.
Well, the thing is, it's not a charity. Nobody's doing that. There's this romanticisation of everything. And the people do it for the love of this. If you're not getting paid, you're fucked. That's it. It's over.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter what we do. But so I've no problem with people making money. And people, if they can get what it is, that's fine. But the problem is, a lot of the mainstream guys have been sitting looking at the auction markets and going, these guys are buying, we're selling this at £100 a bottle. It's it's a rare thing, blah, blah, blah. Then it goes on to an auction. And in the auction there, those guys are getting 200 for it. So what we need to do is sell it for 200. And what they're not getting is the guys that will buy it for 100, a lot of guys will buy it. Some of those guys will throw it on the market. That causes a demand and the price goes up. And
Initially.
And the guys will put maybe out of 200 bottles that are available, there'll be 30 of them ever pop up. So the guys will go, right, okay, I'll pay that bit for it. And they'll double it up. But the other guys will keep it down. Some of them will be drank, some of them will be thing, blah, blah, blah. Some of them will get into collections, whatever. So everybody makes a wee bit. And initially, okay, it'll pay for. But as soon as the distilleries turn around and go, we'll charge 200. Yeah. Well, the guys go, well, there's no money in it for me to fucking buy it. I'm not being able to flip it. The guys who would pay, the 30 guys who will buy it to drink it, they'll buy it, drink it. The other 170 bottles aren't going anywhere.
Absolutely. See, this is the thing, and I love it. One of the things that I love about our whiskey is that no one, well, it annoys me actually. No one ever has made money selling our stuff at auction. Apart from once, there was one bottle of Glenelgin went for like 170 quid or something, which was ridiculous because it was only 70 quid when it first came out. And that annoyed me because that was the first thing. Like, our stuff at auction sometimes was so cheap, I would bid on it because I could buy it for cheaper than it cost me to make it. So our stuff is not for sale. But one of the things, like, see, going back in time, limited edition bottles were legendary bottles, and the things that made money were legendary bottles because people drunk them. Yeah. And people, like, just to use an example, Black Bowmore. Right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a brilliant whiskey. I've been fortunate enough to try it several times, again with other people's money. But like I've been fortunate to try it, and it is great. But it's one of those whiskies that you're like, oh, I'll actually pay over the odds to try that because everyone says it's actually really good.
Yeah. Because
people had actually tried it. Now you get XYZ Distillery. Back in the day, you would have a limited release of 2,000 bottles. 1,800 of them got drunk immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, oh, this is amazing. Now you get 90,000 bottles released, and 70,000 of them were like just put on a shelf, and
Yeah.
and no one's tried it. No one's going, do you know what, this new Macallan whatever or XYZ distillery is good,
No.
because no one's drinking it. So it doesn't have the flippability, because, well, it does have flippability, but it's not got the enthusiastics going, oh yeah, you need to try this,
No,
because no one's drinking it.
No, and I mean, over in Ireland, the Irish whiskey industry is been doing well for the last couple of years. It really has. It's been coming along, but we're still taking baby steps. We're
Yeah.
so far behind Scotland. I mean, it's not even close. But you've got the likes of that Bushmills 30. You've got the new Redbreast 18-year-old that's out. Again, core range stuff, not collectible, not limited edition or anything like that. It's 180 quid a bottle. And you're like, what the fuck? It's too dear. There's so much.
Yeah, I mean, 180 quid is not scullable.
No.
I mean, some people it might be, but like for me, that's special bottles. That's
absolutely, and that can't be core. I mean, I know there are bottles in that price bracket, and it's Christmas whiskey where you don't go and buy a bottle for Christmas present, or somebody's retiring or something like that.
Yeah.
But there's just so many of them that's just so fucking dear.
Do you know, this is one of the things that, like, you buy a bottle of whiskey for a special occasion.
Mm-hmm.
Special occasions are the worst time to open a good bottle of whiskey.
I know, because you never remember fuck all about drinking.
Well, you never remember it, and we've all got that uncle that will just drink anything, and they're there. And you're like,
I don't have any nephews to do that. I feel you and I would be somewhat of the fuck. I just getting that. If I was a fucking good bottle, he'd drink most of it.
Yeah, I'm not adverse to filling a bottle with something shite, and that like it was a good whiskey, but you just fill it with something else and then just pouring it out so people think they're getting good stuff. It's because it is that you're much better off opening a bottle on a random Tuesday night with a couple of good pals that actually like whiskey.
Yeah.
Like I have, it was Kate, my wife always laughs because when she moved in with me, I was like, I've got 2 rules when you move in with me. You don't open a bottle and you don't finish a bottle. Anything in between you can have. You can drink from here to there, but that last bit's mine and the first bit's mine.
I tell my girlfriend exactly the same. She says, "Oh, I drank some of that stuff. I don't give a fuck, darn. If it's open, you drink away.
Drink whatever you want.
Drink away. If it's open, you fire away. Don't open the unopened stuff, because that might be stuff that is going in an auction some point. I'm not adverse to that. But anything that's open, drink away.
But like, I'll share whiskey with anybody as long as they're interested in it. There's nothing but, and that's one of the things that's been really nice about having our own company again. Mm-hmm. Not again. We've only done it once. But like, when I first started in whiskey, I was behind the bar in the Craigellachie Hotel. We had 800 whiskies, single malts behind the bar, and people would come in and they'd be like, "Oh, looking around. Oh, I don't like whiskey." I was like, "You're staying here for a week. I will have you. By the end of the week, I will." And like, boom, 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 try. And you've seen people, you give them a dram and you get that instant reaction. And then I worked at Roma Whiskies and, I sold bottles to people when I worked at SMWS or whatever. And then as I got further up the chain, I started selling to the people who sold to the people who sold to the people. And you got further and further away from the consumer.
Yeah.
And for me, that felt like you were missing out a bit, and like.
You will eventually find one that you do like. You do know that. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Even I've found that. But, with getting further and further away from the consumer, there's Four Leaf Whiskey says, with the bigger distilleries who are owned by corporations, you have to wonder if it's a bunch of people in a boardroom setting the prices, not the people who actually know the whiskey.
Absolutely. I mean, these people are just... They're throwing darts at a wall and hitting a number. It's like I've been in meetings, and I shouldn't probably tell you this, but I'll tell you anyway. I've been in meetings where people have told us to put our prices up, like not with what whiskey, but other stuff. Like we pitched. I remember being in a meeting. I pitched a bottle at £6,000 a bottle, thinking if they knock us down to £3,000 a bottle, we're laughing. And they went, nah, make it 10 and we'll buy it.
And make it 10 and we'll buy it. That's fucking madness.
It's just,
Do you know what it
it's
is?
ridiculous.
Do you know what it is? Everybody's chasing the big, wealthy, multi-millionaire American. I mean, and that's not me being disparaging to the people from the States. That's being honest. I talk to people all the time, and that's if we can get the Texas oil barons over, that's who we're looking for. And it's like, come on, I mean, the Gulf up here. I was talking to a guy the other day. He was telling me that there are a couple of golf courses up beside Royal Portrush, just up there where the Open's being played next year, and a couple of golf courses. They were like, no, we've got really good course here, and nobody's playing on it. And it's only £35 for 18 holes, and nobody's playing on it, even though Royal Portrush just ran the road. Blah blah blah. Boy says it's because you're too cheap. So they bung the price up to like £150, £200 a round. Suddenly they've got fucking all these people down. Happy days! This is a great course and it's the same with whiskey. You know that the guy who gets the guy who get the 30-year-old whiskey is pretty shite, and they'll go, "Oh, that's the best whiskey I ever tasted." No,
I tell you, I had when I worked at the Craig Hotel. There was these 3 guys who used to come in fishing all the time. And they just drunk famous grouse. No, there's anything wrong with that. They just drunk famous grouse, and that was fine. But they were like, "Oh, we're mate." I can't remember his name, but it's like, "My mate, he's a bit of a flash Harry. He's coming in tomorrow. Let's wind him up." He's always like the really big boys. He's a big shot. And so we had a 1951 Balvenie that was 250 quid a shot, right? Like for 25 mil. So us. It fell into place so well. He came in and they were like, "Oh, there was a good day. They caught some fish." And he was like, "Oh, boys, anything you want, it's on me." And they'd went, "Oh, that Balvenie, 1951." And he was like, "Aye, make them large ones." So I made the pretend that I was getting the bottle, So the large ones, that's 500 quid each. That's £2,000 for four whiskies. And I poured it I had it and I poured double grouses for all of them, and then I sneaked him his bill for £2,000 for 4 whiskies, and you could see him go, and he was like, "How am I going to tell the wife I've just spent £2,000 on 4 whiskies?" But I don't want to not do it. And the boys like, "Oh, look, if it was too much, don't worry, we'll pay it." And he's like, No, it's fine. And he's like, "Oh, you can tell the quality. I mean, it's really worth this all the time." And eventually, I had to say, "Look, I've just poured you a double grouse and it's free," But he actually handed over his credit card to pay £2,000 for the double grouse.
Aye, it's nuts. It's nuts. Now, tell us about your lineup. Because we're talking about the industry here. We want to talk about you a bit. What all have you brought? You brought this is your 100th cask. You haven't brought 100 different bottlings, have you?
We've 100 different casks from 48 different distilleries so far. Mainly Scottish distilleries, mainly single malts, but we've done some blends, some blended malts. Some blends and blended malts we've bought pre-blended, and we're quite open about that we bought it pre-blended. It amazes me the amount of people, again, they're like, "Oh yes, I'm the master blender." And I was like, "No, you're not. You bought it from the same boy I bought it from."
I love it. I fucking love it, Mark.
It's just like, oh, come on. But when we do blends ourselves, we actually give it a stupid name, and we tell you exactly what's in the recipe, and all these kind of things. So yes, we've done. We do quite a bit of rum as well. We've done 1 cask of Armagnac. I'll be honest, I know nothing about Armagnac, but I tried it and liked it, and the price was good. As long as it's natural colour, non-chill filtered. And
I feel I should know more about Armagnac.
I should know more. Yeah. I should know more about most things, but as long as it hits what I deem, or Kate and I deem, as the price quality ratio, and I said this earlier, I want to be able to afford to drink my own whiskey. Yeah. I don't like, and I've said this over the years whenever I've been at other companies, when new people come and they're starting to taste casks and stuff and trying to select casks, and I was like, would you stand up in front of 300 people and taste that? And if the answer is no, then you shouldn't be bottling it. You know, and more so now because stupidly I put my name on the bottle. You know, I mean, I have a massive ego, but that wasn't the whole point. The company's called the Campbelltown Whisky Company, but it turns out if your company was not founded before 2009, if you have the name of a region on the label, all the whiskey has to be from that region. So bottling a Glenelgan under Campbelltown Whisky Company wouldn't happen. So so much so on our back label it says bottled by What Whiskey, Kirk Street, but we don't even have Campbelltown on our address. So
I didn't notice that. No.
So that's. So initially we were What Whiskey, we were Campbelltown Whisky Company because I'll be honest, we were sat having dinner and thought let's start a company, and so we looked up and Campbelltown Whisky Company Limited was still available. And I was like, well, I'm having that. That's too good a name not to have. You know, with all these people that are building distilleries in here now, I can sell it to somebody eventually. But I was like, that's too good a name. And then it turns out we couldn't have it on the label. So that was when we went with what, because speaking to people, like people know me, they know Kate. So it's us that is the brand. It sounds really corporate and wanky, but you know, it's
I know.
It's us. So that's why we went down the road of What Whiskey and What Rum and stuff like that.
No, good on you. Declan Boyle's just saying there, I love his honesty. Yeah, absolutely fucking. So it's so nice to hear someone just saying, you know, this is what we do. Do this, do that. You know, people going, oh, I am the master blender. And you're like, are you fuck? You bought it off the same guy. I bought that stuff up. You know, it's all pre-blended. I mean, there's nothing. I don't know.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it. Of course, there's nothing wrong with it. It's the same.
I think that's one thing you'll get with What Whiskey is you get brutal transparency. You know, it probably doesn't do me good that often.
I don't think it's going to do you any harm in the long run.
We'll tell it like it is.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to do you any harm in the long run, my friend, because I mean, I'm not someone who likes to be very critical of people. I genuinely, I don't like being critical because I know loads of people do lots of work, but there's people who have said stuff for years about this, and this, and then done that, and you're like, you can't build, you can't build this up. You can't build this up.
One of the biggest ones was, and I'm not going to mention names, but there was a guy who was the CEO of a major distillery company.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that independent bottlers were all parasites. And he was quoted as this in several magazines saying independent bottlers are parasites because they're just selling whiskey using our name. It's like, well, fair enough, but if you didn't want us to sell it, stop freaking selling it to us. You know,
it's true.
It's true. And then he left them and he became the chairman of an independent bottling company.
Kill surprise. What a surprise. Someone coming out with this shit and then fucking... I mean, and this is the thing that fucking gets me. People always think that the big corporations, they're all trying to crush the wee man. They're all trying to crush the wee man. They're not really a lot. Most of the time, they don't really care.
It's different. It's different markets.
It's just totally different. I mean, Diageo doesn't really give a toss about What Whiskey. No, I don't mean that in a bad way.
No, they don't.
But why would they? They're not on their radar. So
if you look at Diageo's annual report, Lagavulin doesn't even get a mention. So why are they going to give a shit about What Whiskey?
I mean, it's ridiculous. I laugh at just whenever we said about Blair Raffle. We used to bring tours into Blair Raffle, and it's part of it's not a whiskey tour. It's just the tour that we do. And we got into Blair Raffle, and they used to give you a little points. You know, you'd have got the points and you build it up. And then towards the end of the year, you could go in, you had enough points to get yourself a nice bottle of whiskey for Christmas. Now, that was lovely. Nice. To save money, Diageo done away with that. To save fucking money. Right, they made 15 billion last year, but to save money, they won't give you a bottle of whiskey for free.
It's
What the fuck?
Do you know, Blair Athol was one of the weirdest things. Back in my Canheads days, I met my Chinese importer, guy Steve Norton, brilliant guy, absolutely brilliant. I met him, and we were both in Scotland. And I was like, "Oh, we should meet up and have a meeting." Blair Athol is, because I was living in Dufton at the time. It was halfway between where both of us were.
Mhm.
So let's meet up at Blair Athol. And we arrived at Blair Athol Distillery, and it was fine. We went into the distillery. There was no one there. Went into the visitor centre, no one there. Like, we wandered around the stills everywhere. No, it was like a ghost town. It was mental. It was like wandering around and no one there. And like, it was like, I imagine if I take this rare malt off the shelf, like, people will arrive. But
Yep.
it's just, it was just so bizarre. Like, it was like 28 days later or something, just walking around a distillery that there was no one there. It was just like, have you seen this? It was just absolutely mad. We ended up just leaving because we felt so uncomfortable.
Well, put it like this: in 2019, I would say those guys were putting through 2 coaches an hour of people through
Yep.
there, and they are fabulous at doing tours because they've it nailed. If I take a group there and they tell me it's a 45-minute tour, I can set my clock back at 45. Click, there, they're finished. They're in the shop. Right, boys, whenever you're finished, let's go out. They're super, and it's beautiful. I mean, it is absolutely stunning place.
It's a great whiskey.
And a great whiskey, great tour. That you walk in and the ivy all over the fucking place. And
Yeah.
it goes into autumn. It's beautiful, beautiful. I've got nothing but the highest praise for them. That's the truth.
Me
Right,
too.
couple of quick questions. Out of the bottlings that you've done, have you a particular favourite, or is there one that's close to your heart?
Well, there's a few. One that was a real favourite was we managed to get an Imperial. So we managed to do a 25-year-old Imperial, which was always one of my favourite distilleries. And we got it by accident, which was even better. I'd bought a cask of 1974 Invergordon. And the guy I bought it from, he was like, "Oh, we've got the cask regauged and there's hee-haw in it." So that's a technical term. There's fuck all in it. And if I sell it to you at the price that I was going to sell it to you, I'll lose money and my boss will kill me. Would you like an Imperial instead? It's an apology. It's like, don't say yes too quickly. Don't say yes too quickly. I was like, can I get samples? I was like, yes. So that was one of my highlights. But one of the things, there's loads of things that have been highlights. Like, even just a recent bottling, Knockneen. You know,
I saw that in.
It's the first time that I've bottled whiskey from it. So 26 years, and I'm still able to bottle things that I've never bottled before.
I mean, I saw Nick Nean. You have that. It's in Royal Mail whiskey. That must be. There's not too many independent bottles of that floating.
No, they're not. And that was one of those ones where the distillery, we dealt directly with the distillery, and that was really cool because it kind of meant, like, it's weird. There's a lot of new distilleries. There's too many new distilleries, but there's loads of new distilleries, and they go 2 ways when it comes to independent bottle. And this is there's many things annoying me, as you'll have already discovered. But
I'm picking up on that, to be honest.
One of the things that annoy me is independent bottlers that buy a distillery or build a distillery and then don't sell to independent bottlers. It's like, yeah, big hypocrites. But then there's a lot of new distilleries like, so they've got their cask program or whatever to sell to the public, and it's like $5,000 for new make or whatever, and that's fair enough. But that's not independent bottling prices. That's not trade prices.
Yeah.
Because like, we need to make a margin. The shop we sell to needs to make a margin.
It's not a charity.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, I live in Campbelltown. It's fairly cheap, but it's not that cheap. But it's we need to make money. But some new distilleries will look at it and go, we're not selling to independent bottlers. Oh, no, it's terrible. And there's others that look at it and go, we're going to deal with a few select independent bottlers because that actually promotes our distillery.
I
You know, and
That's fairly
so
good.
so for not needing to get in touch with us and be like, can we can bottle direct from them? That was a badge of honor for me, to be honest. You know, like we're fucking nobody. We're tiny, you know. But like if you're a new distillery and you can get Cadenheads or Berry Brothers or somebody like this to bottle your
Yeah.
stuff, that is a badge of honor.
Mm.
And some distilleries realise this, and others don't link up with that, and they're like, oh, no, we're not selling to it. If you can get a good independent one, and thankfully we get stuff that we, you know, that we possibly shouldn't. We for some reason they said we are good, so that's all good. But you know, but it's that kind of. I think a lot of distilleries don't understand that independent bottlers, the people who drink independent bottling whiskies, are the people that will buy your whiskey and keep your distillery alive. You know, it's.
I've noticed in my whiskey cabinet over here, and I do have whiskey sitting fucking everywhere. But anyway, I've noticed that over the last 18 months, I'm getting more and more indie bottlings sitting on here. I think I'm getting a bit. There's too many. What would be the best way of putting this? There's too many distilleries bringing out too many variations of stuff that is pretty much the same as the other distillery that's bringing out a variation of their stuff.
Yes. No, I agree with it. There's too much limited edition bullshit.
Finished in this, finished in that, finished in
imitation is a form of flattery. They haven't an original thought between themselves. TV companies all do this, Mark.
This is one of the things that, and again, I've said this many times, the things that annoy me. Like innovation. Oh, we're the most innovative whiskey company. Oh, we finished it in a white wine car. I found records the other day from 1830 of people finishing whiskey in white wine casks.
Yeah,
it's not innovative. You know, the last truly innovative thing in the whiskey industry was the coffee still. You know,
it's funny. You know, that's what I had in my head. You know, I mean,
nothing's new. Everything's been done before. It's you know, you're not innovative. You've just put a different spin on it, and now you're charging ridiculous amounts of money for it. Well, like the two most expensive things in the whiskey industry is peat and sherry.
Mm-hmm.
Like sherry casks are obviously £9 million a cask these days. You know, and if you do a peated version, well, it's just you may as well throwing gold onto it because that. You know, it doesn't cost that much.
No,
but you rip the piss.
Look at Lafroig. Lafroig, to me, a fucking Lafroig should, when you drink it, no matter how used you are to a Lafroig, it should be like a shock to the system. It just should be. That's fucking what it should be, right? And then a few years ago, they brought out that PX one. And it tasted like toilet cleaner. It was fucking awful. I mean, it was
not even good toilet cleaner.
No, I mean, do you know what I mean? It's like artificial toilet cleaner. Do you know? No,
do you know?
I bang. You know your boy that
no, Sell Bang. No, Barry Scott.
Barry Scott. That's not even has that fucker's name, right? It's like even worse than that. That's an actor playing Barry Scott.
Do you know? 10, probably 15 years ago, I was in Japan. Yes, I am that wanker. But I went to a mate of mine, Hideo Yamamoto's house, and like he's got so much whiskey, it's ridiculous. Like he's got 2 houses or 3 houses in Tokyo, I think, and 2 are just for whiskey.
Like, he'll not be sitting in the bones of his arse that way with 3 houses.
Oh no! Like I went to the toilet and there was 5 different 25-year-old Macallans sitting on the cistern. You know, it was just unbelievable. And we tasted 7 or 8, I think it was 8 different 10-year-old Lafroigs from over the last 40 years.
Aye.
And they were a totally different
Totally
animal.
different thing.
Totally different. So for everyone saying, oh no, it's not changed. Yes, it has.
Of course,
it's totally changed.
You taste over the last 5 years, never mind.
It used to bash you about and hit you in the face. Like You know, I know sometimes you maybe some people you want a punch in the face, other times you want a wee cuddle, but like you used to be able to get punched in the face with Lefroy, and now it's
just becoming more anemic, more and more anemic, and you can taste it. It's just taking that. I mean, I always think of those three distilleries. You know, you've got Lefroy, Lagavulin, and Ardbeg, and they're very peaty but very different.
yeah.
Lagavulin, lots of peat, but quite refined. You know, it's kind of like your quality car that you're going to take out and go for a wee nice drive in. You know, but it can, if you put the boot down, it can go. You know, your Ardbeg, somewhere a bit more riotous, but your Lefroy, I always used to have that lovely citrus note that just cut through it. That was really nice, and it fucking tasted medicinal. And it was like driving an old, I don't know, Mark One Escort, the GT, the Rally Mexicos with the floor sort of hanging out of it, and it was fucking.
You're talking about that because like we bottle a lot of rum. Well, not a lot of rum, but quite a few rums, and quite a lot of the best rums for me taste like the back seat of a 1980s Ford Escort. You know, on a sunny day, you know, you're wearing shorts and
there's a funny smell off that.
Your legs have stuck to the plastic, and they had the roof, you know, with the dots that kind of looked like you could reach it and stuff. But, and you're like. You put that on a tasting note, and it does not sell. but
that's what some of those should be. You know, it shouldn't have mass appeal. That's not really what they should be.
Do you know? One of the things that I always think. I'm probably going to lose more friends here, but you know, you go to a whiskey festival and they've got the whiskey of the day, the whiskey of the show that's got the most votes. I don't want to get the most votes. If you get the most votes, it means you're bland. It means you've agreed with most people's taste. I'd rather get something that people go, oh shit, I don't like that, and other people go, oh fuck, that's good. You know, like for me, if you're winning as an independent bottler, you're there to just push the limits a wee bit and let people taste the distillery character. Like, don't get me wrong, I love big sherry casks and stuff, but like, I want to taste the distillery character coming through, and you want that. You don't want crowd pleasers, which sounds stupid, but you know you don't, because crowd pleasers are just bland.
But I've moved more and more over the last couple of years because I've gotten a bit fed up with we've brought out a rare wine cask finished, some obscure wine cask finished such and such, and then this guy they've brought out the similar and they've copied this and so on. And just give me something good quality that's got subtlety to it. I was talking to a guy
for me is what it's all about.
I was actually talking to a guy a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about awards, and I know loads of guys love winning awards, and I can get it all, and it's a bit like the Rod Stewart thing, all that kind of shit. But anyway, I've always been skeptical of awards because I
was Scotland's first young brand ambassador of the year.
When was that?
What century was that in, Mark?
that was
pre-war.
It was probably pre-war. I can't even remember. It was 2000.
Was that not the first thing that was broadcast on Channel 4 back in the day?
Richard Whiteley was there.
Just as long as Carol Vorderman was there, you're all right.
Just after countdown. But no, we were talking about award ceremonies, and the boy he says, look at all the stuff that wins awards. There's two ways of doing it, right? Two ways of doing it. You either get the guys who pay to get into everything, so the other guys that can't afford to pay it, they've no chance, or it's done by a panel of guys who taste fucking 1,000 whiskies over whatever it is over 2 weeks.
Yeah, which is why when you enter stuff into awards, like we don't, because we don't pay for these things, and you know I'm not going to give a bottle away for some fucker to try, but but like when you, and I've won these awards over the years with various companies and stuff, and like, but you don't enter what you think is your best whiskey.
Mhm.
You enter what you think the judges will like. You know, I remember we won when I was at Duncan Taylor. We won best cast strength whiskey with a 1974. No, it wasn't. It was 1968 Invergordon single grain, and it was. Don't get me wrong, it was a beautiful, beautiful whiskey.
Yeah.
But the only reason it won was because the judges have been spent a day going space side, space. Oh, what's that? And it stood out, and that's what you do, you know.
Yeah.
Or you now go the Malt Maniacs Awards. Oh, it's got to be big, crazy sherry and
Massive
that'll win,
sherry.
you know. And
Because if they taste 70 whiskies, the big one with the big finish, the big blah blah
Yeah.
blah, that's the one that stands out.
that's
That's the one that stands out. Yeah. And
That's-
yeah.
Well, like I told you I had something crazy for you. I was going to drink.
Oh yeah,
tonight.
yeah, that's right. Way back before the TikToks went back. No, I can't. You've an old Korean from the 1970s.
It's even worse than that.
What is it?
This was made. I am not 100% sure when. It was made between 1989 and 1993. That's all I know.
Right.
In McGilligan Prison.
Are you sure it doesn't come out the #1 channel? It's prison huge.
So I know for a fact this was made in McGilligan's prison between 1989 and 1993. And the thing that makes me laugh is the fact it was Frank McCarthy, ex Springbank distillery manager,
Bushmills,
etc., and he had it in his house, and he thought, "Do you know what? I know who's going to like this," and he gave it to me. So
what a gentleman! What a
do you know
gentleman!
what? Do you know what? I've tasted worse. Like I've tasted worse new make than this. I mean, it's got a bit of bottle aging about it, but see, that's another thing. Bottle aging. No one can tell me when bottle aging starts.
Mm.
Like, because everyone goes, "Oh, you get this bottle from the 70s. It's got that old bottle effect." But you know, will we be drinking Macallan Gold in 10 years' time? Going, "Oh, it's got old bottle effect." You know, it's still pish anyway. But
I always tell people, you know, I sell whiskey in the shop that I work in up in the friend at hand, and people come in and they'll, "Oh, does this go off?" You know, so there's a museum there and all that kind of stuff, and some of the stuff. Well, he's done up there is just incredible. But they'll say, "Oh, is that whiskey drinkable?" Yeah, of course it's drinkable, but you don't really want to tell them that there's some chemicals do degrade in whiskies. There just is, and especially peated whiskies.
the amount of people that say I look like him.
Sean McLaren, trying not to be disrespectful, Mark, but you're the twin of Winston for still game. Actually, you are a bit. You can
The
make
amount
a
of
fortune
people
on
that
it.
say that.
You can make a fortune in that.
That's another revenue stream. You could be sure they have a whiskey out now. That's right.
They do. Jack and Victor have it,
Jack and
but
Victor
Winston
have a
doesn't. I'm going to have the Winston.
There you go.
You could call it the Clan Rye or the Clansman or something like that. There.
Absolutely.
That's the most evilest thing ever. There's Seamus saying, "Justin, don't stop them. Face blue, wide face." Oh, gee, he can't cope. He can't cope. He's setting the emojis and written words. I tell you.
No,
But no, you're not the first person to say I look like Winston. And do you know what? I'll live with that all day. Do you know, I did see a guy the other day wearing that kind of burgundy jacket thing.
Garb.
I need to get that. Like,
Oh,
that's my Halloween costume. Do you know, one day, me and Frank McCarthy, we were in Tokyo, and we'd finished our work, and we'd been doing a whiskey show, and we ended up in the bar, and it was Halloween, and there's all these people dressed up and all crazy and stuff. And then we're having our pints, and this woman came up to us and went to me and Frank, "Could you two go on the stage?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why?" I'm like, "You've came second prize in the fancy dress for Halloween because we were wearing our kilts." It's like second.
Fucking brilliant.
Very good.
But no, right. So we're on here. We want to talk about your company, and we keep ending up talking about other stuff, about shooting people for using the credit card twice or a debit machine. So where are we going with what whiskey? What's the next thing, and where can we get it all?
Well, you can get it Royal Whiskies, the Whisky Exchange in the UK, the Whisky Shop Tufton, Green Valley Shop. We sell in, where else do we sell? We sell Denmark, Belgium, Taiwan, Japan. We're now in Austria. Well, we're in Germany just now, doing a show in Germany and Sweden. So yeah, we're branching out a wee bit. Like,
excellent.
We're not trying to take over the world. We just want to, we want to bottle stuff that's good. Again, being the negative person I am, that we bottle stuff that we like, because if nobody buys it, I want to be stuck with stuff that I like to drink. It's
the way the world's going. Having your own stock's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah,
yeah.
But it's so we just bottle stuff that we like. We're not huge. I say 4 years, 5 years now. 104 casks, 30,393 bottles we've bottled. If you lay them, because I'm a geek, if you lay them end to end, you can get to Paris. With the bottles that we've done. And do you know what I really like is people enjoying our whiskey, obviously, but seeing people drinking it, and people. We know most of our customers. Like, you don't just randomly buy a What whiskey, because why would you? It's most of the people know us or have a connection to us, or have a connection through someone else or whatever. And we've been really lucky that people have supported us.
I'd be honest. I love Campbelltown. It's literally just across the water from me. It's my closest distillery's Bushmills up the road, and then my second one's basically Springbank. I live
it is. I mean, you're 30 miles.
Yeah, 32 miles or something.
We went and we stayed in the hovel, and when he went with the woman, he stayed in this fancy 4-star hotel. I haven't forgotten that, Marty.
Whenever Justin's going anywhere, I don't really give a shit. I sleep on a floor somewhere. If I got enough booze in me, I don't give a fuck. Right?
I tell you, I was once in New York, and I got upgraded to this big fancy suite, and I had 2 king-size beds in my room, and I still woke up on the floor. And I think what happened was I got in and saw 2 king-size beds next to each other and thought, I must be seeing double. I'll aim for the middle.
Been there before.
I need to drink something else, because this is pish.
We'll put it like this. Where me and Justin stayed was a B&B owned by, the Indian that's down by the harbour.
Yes.
They had the key for it, so we had to walk across the harbour and in one of the tenements and up. And it was like, we shouldn't be going up.
I expected to see Sean Connery in his milkman's outfit.
It's like one of these ones where you're going, hang on. And then we couldn't get the door open. And then when we got it open, we couldn't really get it closed. So it's like, Justin, you're sleeping in the first bedroom because of the fucking cycles coming in. You're fucking in the first. You can dazzle them with your baldy head.
Next time you come back, you should come and have a few drums with me. And
fucking sure.
Because I reckon we'd get on all right.
Oh, I think we'd have a cracking night.
We'd put the world to right. That's for sure.
No, that's for sure. And as soon as just walked down on the ATM machine there, in High Street. Yes. You fucking bastard. but no, we definitely have to go over. I love Campbelltown, and I love the fact.
Do you know, I love it. Like, my wife's from here, born and bred here, and she wanted to leave Campbelltown so much. Like I love Campbelltown, but see, I presume when you're 17, 18, it's no the nicest.
I can get that.
Places, and she moved away from here twice and just kept coming back. But we love it now. It's a great place. And I grew up in Speyside. I used to live in the middle of nowhere. Now I then live at the end of nowhere, and it's just. But it's a brilliant place. Things are chilled. It's it's a good place to bring up kids. It's I do get it. Like, if you're 18, 19, 20, it's probably dull. But then most places, wherever you live, when you're 18, 19, 20, you want to get away. But it's brilliant. You know, you've got Springbank just out there.
Yeah.
They employ so many people and go around the world. Glen Scotia, like Scotia's done a lot of great stuff. Like Scotia used to, let's be honest, it was pretty terrible. But now the stuff that they're bottling is superb, and they're really pushing the Campbelltown thing. You know, you go to Glasgow Airport and there's a big sign saying Campbelltown, and it's a Glen Scotia advert. It's, you know, it's phenomenal.
But I mean, the thing is, to fly from Glasgow to Campbelltown, it's pennies and minutes.
So 25 minutes. 25, yeah. I once did it because, like, when you go from Campbelltown up, there's no security. Yeah. So, like, people just go, "Have you got anything in your bag that you shouldn't have?" And you go, "No," and then you fly up. And I got off the flight, so we managed to do the flight in 20 minutes. From Campbelltown to Glasgow, and I got off the flight and my suitcase was there waiting for me. And I had my hand on the suitcase and I'm like, "I'm really sorry, but it has to go through the process. It has to go through the system, and you have to get it through baggage carousel." 45 minutes I waited for my bag that I had in my hand. Come on.
Whenever
we were like, when the flight goes, and it's absolutely brilliant. It's still awesome. You'd just be there with like the handle.
I laugh whenever they
shut it, you Tadger.
When the plane was coming into land, the guy stuck the window wipers on. What the fuck? And you can see it, and it's like, what?
But you get seat 7A because that's got all the leg room, and it's right next to the door. It's absolutely it's a brilliant flight. When it goes, it's brilliant. It's you know, you fly over Arran, you get views.
It's gorgeous. But the when we were going through the security, what was it the boy said to me? And I was in howls of laughter because you know you hate to put it in the wee plastic box and all. It gets pushed down this wee thing. Right, there you go. It's down it's this length, and it goes down through the wee scanner. And that's okay, there on. And what was it he said to me? He says, "Oh, I need to scan that again." I says, "All right, there on." And he went, "Oh, it's just we think there's a bomb in it." What? He said, "I'm only joking." What the fuck? What the fuck? Because you done that in like Heathrow, there'd be fucking joke. You'd be just hilarious. But it was just a cracking wee place. And there's three new distilleries coming into it.
There's three planned. There's Witchburn, which
up at the airport. Macrahanish.
So that's Brave New Spirits, brilliant company, great guys. So we have an open day during the festival. And it's called What Whisky and Friends because, well, we're too wee to have a whole day by ourselves. So we have a mini festival, and basically anyone who's building a distillery in Campbelltown, we invite them because they might sell some casks. So they came. They left us loads of stock. It was great. But like, I don't know. So they're, I think they're due to start production next year. Like early next year,
and you can see it from the airport. It's just literally across, and that wee building that they've just across from.
I mean, in fairness, everything's just across in Campbelltown. But
that's a fair point. Yeah.
So they've got that, and then there's Rassie. Rassie are doing the Macrahanish distillery, and then you've got the North Star that are doing the Dalriata as well. And so they've all got planning permission passed, but there's conditions.
I know, but
they're up, make it
to be fair.
And to be honest, there's 3 or 4 other people sniffing about trying to get land. This is one of the great things about Campbelltown because it's a wee town.
You're going to go up to 35 distilleries again, aren't you? By the sound of it.
Do you know? I would have loved to have seen what Campbelltown was like when you had 35 distilleries here. Because some days, you know, Long Row, they're doing Long Row or Peaton at Springbank. And I was like, God, that's quite stinky. Do you imagine what it would have been like when there was 20 distilleries? Yeah, and then on top of that, you had all the fish, you know, because you see all the old images of Campbelltown and all these barrels at the harbour, and I was like, oh, that's whiskey. It's like, oh, it's full of fish. You know,
it's fucking sold up fish. They don't have plastic, you silly bastards.
Yeah. See, but like, because we used to move everything in barrels. That's where scraping the barrel comes from. You used to transport money in barrels, and you'd be scraping the bottom of the barrel to get the last coins out of it. You know, it's.
We'll put it like this.
And then
when they were shipping
barrels and shipmaking.
When they were shipping the barrels over to Dr. Knox for the Edinburgh University autopsies, they used to ship them in whiskey barrels. Right, make sure the bastard doesn't go off on the way over. That's what they fucking done. And I tip that.
Do you know,
another
thing is, there used to be, this is going back to the 1780s, I think. 1780s. Campbelltown used to import loads of rum, right? Because of the British Empire, you could only, and Scotland had joined up because we fucked up with the
Darien project. You were trying to sell periwinkle wigs to people living on the equator.
Yes. I mean, that's the most Scottish thing you could ever do, to be honest. But that was fair enough. But so we were importing loads of rum into Campbelltown. Like, there's records of like 500 casks of rum coming in at a time. And then it was getting exported immediately to Ireland.
Yep. Because
the tax that you paid on it coming into Scotland was huge. But the tax you paid on it going into Ireland was hee-haw. So it made sense to do it there. And so it was this drawback scheme, it was called.
Yeah.
So you would import it into Scotland and then you'd export it and you'd get all that money back. And then, to be honest, none of it ever made Ireland. It probably went round Devar and then came straight back to Scotland again.
Are you trying to say that there was like a checkered flag at Rathlin Island there, just as a comparative?
Pretty much. It's like, all right, okay, you're fine. Just go back again. But it's funny because it's weird that I've found records of exporting rum from Campbelltown, earlier than I've found records of exporting whiskey.
Yeah. It's just bizarre. It's bizarre. Mark, I could talk to you all night, Paul.
Yeah, I should probably shut up, to be honest.
What a breath of fresh air you are. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while because I was over in.
Yeah, you nipped over and I missed you, and it was just.
It just was one of them things.
We've been trying, but like. I'll be honest, you normally just go on a Friday, you available tomorrow night, and I'm like,
aye, it's just one of them
things. To be honest, normally on a Saturday night I'm pissed, so
listen, wait, I tell you, you never have to worry about going on this show pissed, because I do it pretty much about 50% of the time. I try and maintain some sort of modicum of sobriety.
It's when he has to look at my face, he has to have drink in him.
No, well, that's pretty much. Justin bought a new drone and he posted a thing on social media earlier on the day, and it was him at the Giant's Ring, and it goes away up like this drone. And then the only thing that's shinier than his head is the stone that he's standing beside. It's just.
That's brilliant. I remember years ago being again, it was Whisky Live Tokyo. It must have been about 2008, 2009, and we were all stood and there was this big screen, but it was showing us from behind. And that's when my boss realised he was bald. He was like, "Oh no!"
And I've been bowing to the Japanese. Konnichiwa. Fuck me, I'm like.
Do you know? I'm going to tell a story. It's a bright story. It's a terrible story. But Richard Patterson is the reason I'm married. So we went out to Japan. And we were out there and we were sat in the bar. Well, we'd arrived. And so we went drinking. And then, Patterson. I love Patterson. He's brilliant. Like that week, we did a whole week of tastings and we stole his act. So there'd be five of it. It was me, you and Mitchell, Frank McCarthy, Billy Walker, and you and Pete Curry. And so Richard would always go last, so we would always steal his act. So I'd be like, and somebody else was like, "Oh, if I see you holding a glass like this, I'll kill you," and all this. So by the time he stood up, we'd done his whole routine, and he's like, "You guys are bastards." So anyway, so we were out drinking, and So we went back to the hotel, and Richard went up to his hotel room and came down with 3 bottles of Jura, which is never a good sign. And Richard being Richard, was like, "Oh, Kate, I've got a sherry cask one. You'll like that." And she drank it and was like, "This is shit." But in her drunken logic, she was like, "If I drink it quick, then I'll get something else." But the more she drank it quickly, the more he went, "Oh, you must like it." And then she woke up next to me, and now we're married. So that's
Fucking happy days.
that's Richard Patterson is responsible for my marriage and bought whiskey because we're both 50-50 in the company. So there we go.
No, on that note, I think yes, I'm married because my wife ended up absolutely plastered in bed with me. Yes, okay. And I've been plying her with Madam Care for another top up. I've got a sherry cask whiskey for you, Keith. Brilliant. Listen, honestly, that's beautiful whiskey. Really, really nice. And I love the honesty, and I love the whole thing. I love Campbelltown. I can't wait to go back. There's a guy who's come on here and said maybe we should get a trip over. Maybe we should.
You should do.
Maybe we should. We'll get a run over sometime.
Give us 8 weeks notice so that we can get a license. But
8 weeks notice, and we'll go over sometime. Because it's not. I mean,
you're there. Like
it's literally
it's
just across.
It's a good 2 iron away.
It is, honestly. And we'll get a run over, and we'll get a fucking cracking night because there's a couple of really nice bars down there. The Black Sheep's haggis nachos are fucking awesome.
Although it's the only pub that I know that's called a pub, because it's called the Black Sheep Pub. I don't know any other pub that actually its name is pub.
That's a
right.
Good,
what are they
that's
called?
A good point now.
What are they called?
Well, they're not called pub. They don't actually call pubs. They're just called
no pub
Red
is called
Lion.
pub.
The Red Lion. You know, the Slimish, the Bridge End. You know,
do you know, another thing, this is something I said in a tasting the other day, which has got nothing to do with my tastings, but do you know that the brain is the only thing that's ever named itself?
This is the Gents Ring. It's a Henge-type monument just outside of Belfast, and it's older than the pyramids. What about this? Nobody really knows what it was used for. It could have been some sort of burial ground or assembly point, but at one time, believe it or not, it was used for horse racing of all.
There you go. Sorry about that. It fired before I wanted it to, but that's the actual video that he was talking about.
That's Justin doing his wee throwing, doing aerial shots of Justin's head, which is what seafarers use to navigate around at Carrickfergus, because you can see the sunlight bouncing off it. But anyway,
absolutely love it. Do you know what? I've had a lot of fun tonight. Thank you for having me on.
Honestly, it's been an absolute
I know your viewers will, as with all my tastings, you leave knowing less than you started. But you know, it's you just be honest and have a laugh. You know,
man, a total breath of fresh air. Tell me this quick question. I had this because I think I would respect your opinion. What makes a good whiskey bar? What makes a good whiskey bar?
Do you know what? It's not numbers. It's not numbers. There's so many whiskey bars that go, oh, we've got X amount, we've got that amount. It's about selection, and it's about people behind the bar that can give you the dram that you want.
Yeah.
That's like, if, you know, you can have a bar that's got 2,000 whiskies, or you can have a bar that's got 60 whiskies. But if they've got a decent selection and it's been picked properly, and the person behind the bar actually knows what there's so many bars in Scotland that have loads of whiskey and they're useless.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're spending a lot of money on this. But having someone behind the bar, like, and as a whiskey bar, you're only as good as your worst employee.
Yeah.
You know, so your worst employee needs to be your best. If that makes sense. They need to be able, because I want to walk into a whiskey bar and go, wow, there's 300 whiskies here. What am I going to try? could you recommend something to me?
Yeah.
And the amount of places that don't have someone that can recommend something, or they just recommend the expensive one or whatever. I want to go and go like, boom. Like if I was walking the bar right now and go like, right, I want something about 12 to 15-year-old bourbon cask. Give me a suggestion. That's what I want. And that's where good bars, the Potstill, the Bonaccord, the Highlander Inn, all these bars, that's what makes a great bar.
The couple of really nice ones that I've been in recently, the Tipsy Midgie in Edinburgh.
Yep, great bar.
Fucking cracking. Lovely. Doesn't take its tail too seriously. What do you call the big guy that's in it? Is it Keith? Is it Keith you call him?
I think it's Keith.
I think it's Keith. Fucking wonderful. Nice selection. Great selection, but not in your face. It's kind of, we've got stuff down the back. We've got stuff here in this cabinet and stuff. Just really, really cool. But yeah, I'll tell you what, any bar I'm going in now, if they don't have your stuff, I'm going to be disappointed. That's the truth. Because honestly,
you'll be disappointed more often than not, to be honest.
But like this, I've had an absolute blast tonight. What a pleasure talking to you, good buddy.
I'll be honest. I could speak to you guys all night, and I mean your followers wouldn't want it, but it's been easy. It's been honest. It's just been easy.
It's actually nearly our longest show ever. It's heading on for the 2-hour mark.
It's heading on for 2 hours.
There you go.
Absolutely.
I need to get myself a drink.
Aye. I'm going to drink a bit more of this here. This is fabulous whiskey, by the way. Really, really good. Really good. And lovely stuff. And
there you go. Same time, same place next week. Remember to comment, like, and share. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn, Telegram, and wherever you get your podcast from. Just ask Alexa or Google to play it, and you'll get it. Thanks very much, Mark.
Listen, Mark, all the best, mate. Thank you very much.